Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK,
And I'm Courtney.
and Courtney, how are you?
Well, first off, I'd like to say hello to Virginia because you've somehow skyrocketed, I don't know words, skyrocketed into our podcast that we didn't know where you are. So thank you for loving us as you love your state. Um, I'm fine. Friday, I went and saw, and that's why we drink live, which is my second time seeing them. And they are just the best live show.
Yeah,
Like, I can't tell you what it's about because they say not to tell you till the show's over, like till it's over. So nobody can.
yeah,
But
yeah,
just know it's a great time. And if you have access to it, absolutely go.
yeah.
Um, but aside from that, I'm being healthier on accident this week. My boss, I think, thought I was dying because as unhinged as I was last week, turns out I was getting ready to have a fever, and that's why I was unhinged. Um, so I was super sick. So I worked from home on Wednesday. The next day I get back, my boss sent us a text and she was like, I'm bringing in meal kits for everyone next week from my nutritionist. She was like, we're all going to have a health kick before we start going to all these conferences and to recover from this period of royalties. I was like, you think I'm dying, but fine. I'm not actually. I mean, who knows? Maybe I was. But so she's bringing us in this like whole shindig of like breakfast, lunch, snack. And then my coworkers, God bless them, I don't think understand what it means to not have money because they were all just like, they got there today and they were just like, I'm not going to eat that. It was meant to be refrigerated, so I'm not having it. And I'm like, first of all, it's still cold, which means it was refrigerated when it got here. But
Correct.
they're just like,
I
I'm not
bring
eating that.
I bring refrigerated lunch and then leave it under my desk until lunch basically every time I bring a lunch.
Yeah. I texted Rachel and I was like, clearly these people have never had a pizza that's been left out overnight. Like, they don't understand. And so, me being normal and not caring, I was like, great, I will have my whole box. And then I will also take pieces of your boxes. So I will have those for dinner.
Absolutely.
And Noelle, not technically working there, just being a temp, I was like, you should also have this food because they're not eating it. So
Right.
Noelle's
No,
getting fed. I'm
for
getting
sure.
fed. I have dinner. I have snacks. I brought for my snacks for the podcast tonight. I have this caramelized onion cauliflower dip with
That
caramel.
sounds amazing.
And I have some like wheat thins. Like, this is my snack today instead of the
I
chocolate
love
in my bag.
I
Um,
love that for you.
yeah, so I'm getting healthy. I'm getting a cleanse for the week, which is much needed. But now I don't have to buy dinner any night because I'll eat at the
Mm.
bar tomorrow when I work. The rest of the week I'll have this leftover dinner that I've taken from the office. And then yeah, so I'm feeling very healthy and health conscious this week. Next week I'm sure I'll be back to eating like burgers and stuff. But
To
like
being an absolute gremlin.
exactly. But this week I'm a brand new person. So how
I
are
love
you?
it. I am so good. Um,
Love
I'm
that.
not. I mean, in general, I'm also like not because I don't have a day off for the rest of my life. Just
Yeah, I've heard
kidding. I
that.
do. 2 weeks from now. And progress reports are due this week, and I like fell a little bit back behind grading again last week, and just like so like I'm actually not doing well. Also, it's May and children are feral, and I need it to be the end of June, like in 4 minutes. But
I don't have a day off in my life either, so I get you.
last week I saw six.
Yeah, you did. My manifestation came true, so I'm glad you loved it.
I texted Courtney Wednesday night, and I just pulled her full name.
Mind you, this is the day that I was getting over my fever and I was very sick and had been working for 12 hours from home.
And it just said Courtney Landcloud. And she was like, what did I do? I said, my life will never be the same. And sent a gif of someone crying, of something being beautiful. And she was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening right now.
I was panicking. I was having an anxiety attack while she's texting me. I just knew I'd messed something up. And
Um, what happened was I saw six. And Wednesday night I saw six. Friday night I worked 6. Sunday night I worked 6. And tomorrow night I'm seeing 6 again.
It's so good. I've seen it twice also. And like when Noelle used to work for COVID safety for 6, she was there every day. So when we had our meetings, she would just call me while she was like waiting for the show to go, and I just hear the music in the back. Ugh, the best.
Literally yesterday we got an email from my boss saying that like they were giving staff complimentary tickets. And I texted Dan and I was like, Shays is giving me 2 more tickets to the show. And he was like, oh no, for tonight, because I worked last night. And I go, no, for Tuesday. Mind you, Tuesday was the only night this entire week that I had the night off. I was supposed to do so much grading on Tuesday, but I go, no, for Tuesday. He goes, we're fucking going. I was like, thank you. Thank you for indulging me. I got him the 6 socks, like the purple socks with the crowns on it.
Very cute.
And then he and I now have matching of the baseball style t-shirts that say 6 with all the queen's names on the back. And then I also got a t-shirt that just says I'm the queen of the castle.
Oh my God. I know, I'm sure that this person does a great Anne of Cleves.
Yeah.
Brittany Mac's version of Anne of Cleves. You have to go listen. I'm not a live version recording person. You gotta go listen to the live version of Brittany Mac performing that song.
Okay.
Because it is like life-changing.
I also so we all know how I feel about the portrayal of Anne Boleyn in the show. And especially that did not change for me. I still did not like it, but seeing it live, it was much more clear, like the Avril Lily Allen influences in the characterization and like where that came from.
So I've listened to the West End recording and I've seen the original Broadway cast.
Yeah.
And then I know the Boleyn tours have a different person playing in Boleyn. Every rendition I've seen has been very different the way they portrayed it. Like, I mean, well enough, they have the influences that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
But like they all like one's a bit sassier, one's like very intense, one's like so like written, I see what you're saying, but like their portrayals are all so different.
Oh no. And that's true. My friend Zach has seen 6 on Broadway 41 times. Yeah. And he was like, it's the best thing that ever happened to my depression because every single show at night is a different show. Like every single girl is a different. And so Zan, the girl who's playing Anne Boleyn in this tour, is, first of all, she is a thin white blonde. She's so cute. Every version I've seen of Anne up to this point has been Asian.
Yeah, Andrea, who was original Broadway, and the West End, I don't remember her name, but they were both Asian. Andrea's like probably shorter than me and like super tiny and Asian.
But she literally, she reminded me of the cartoon of Sabrina, the animated TV show. Like
that's so fun.
And like that. And she like was like really like dumb, like ditzy dumb, but on purpose. Cause then when she would get into it, she would like, it would like turn really gritty. And it was very much like very clear that Avril is the pop star that influences this character. And I liked it a lot better than I thought I would. I also will never get over Dan's face at the point in the middle of the song, the part that's not on, like, because the part that aren't on the cast recording, like the live bits, he had never heard anything of him before. I will never get over his face when the way he looked at me when she just goes, I guess he just really liked my head.
So funny. So sweet. Did you cry whenever which one is that? Catherine
Jane Seymour or Catherine Parr?
No, the other Catherine Howard.
Yeah. That was way.
You gotta look up Sam Pauli's rendition of that.
Okay, that is way different in person also, like emotionally.
Yes.
So, I can't wait to see it again tomorrow. I'm gonna die.
I'm so jealous.
I wonder if I know where my seats are for tomorrow yet.
I love Six so much. I've seen it both times I saw it was in the orchestra. So I was part of the like, do they have the like confetti falling down on you?
oh
I was
yeah,
confetti both times.
I may or may not have taken a couple of pieces from
Oh,
it.
I did. I did both times I saw it. Like,
Oh no, no, but I mean, I didn't take it from the stage. I literally took it from work.
oh.
But to be fair, my friend Lucy is the head of props, and her job, there is nothing for her to do during the run of the show. There is no props during the show.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, because it's just the women running
yeah.
around the stage. Like,
Her job is for 2 hours before the show. She sorts through the confetti because they keep it and reuse it.
that's so fun. That feels miserable. But
Yeah, she was like,
it's funny.
I looked at her and she was like, "This is what I do every day for 2 hours," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Great." I don't have my tickets yet because I think they won't be in my account till tomorrow, so I don't know where my seats are. But I saw it from the balcony because my season tickets are in the balcony. But
yeah, I think it'd be nice in the balcony. I am blind, so like I don't see as well in the mezzanine, even though I know that's usually really good seats for like musicals and stuff with that much like
yeah,
activity. But so I was really glad to see it from the orchestra.
yeah. I also can't see, but I'd like to be able to be blind of the whole picture.
Yeah. That's one thing. The theater they're in here. They're still there. It's just a different cast.
Yeah,
For the life of me, I've forgotten what theater it is, but it's really open and it's you can pretty much see the show from anywhere you sit. You're fine. Like
very nice.
so, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I also have decided that basically for my wedding reception, I'm just going to play that album on repeat. I don't need any other songs. Don't need any other songs.
It's so good. It's so good. Shameless plug. Go listen to Unseen Artist first episode. We cover 6. If you haven't seen it, and if you have, you should also listen.
Yeah. Also, just if the Berlin tour is coming to a city near you, please see it.
And go see the other tour. I don't remember.
Right. I don't either. I think it's the Aragon tour.
Oh, you're right. It is the Aragon tour.
Because it's the first. It's the first.
East Coast is
no, the Aragon tour is the West Coast. The Berlin tour is the East Coast because it's first tour, second tour. If they come out with a third tour, it would be the Seymour tour because get it. That's the order of the queens. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't speak for the Aragon tour, but the girls on the Berlin tour are phenomenal. Literally when I saw it on Wednesday when Jane Seymour's solo finished, like when Heart of Stone ended, somebody in the orchestra just like stood up and was like, "You sang it, girl!" It was like people were involved.
Yeah, that's the one I skip when I'm listening to the like playthrough because it makes me cry every time.
Oh yeah,
I have to be in the mood to cry, or if not, I'm skipping it.
Yeah.
But I saw Kirsten. Kirsten, I've lost her last name.
Okay.
She's one of the understudies, and I saw her play Catherine Parr and Jane Seymour. And I also saw the original cast or the original Queen for Jane Seymour. I thought Kirsten did so much better job.
So the original Jane Seymour was, oh God, she's
someone famous that like people know.
Yeah. She's one of those sisters of the sisters that are all famous and
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, and her voice, don't get me wrong, her voice is incredible. But with the emotion behind it, Kirsten did, I thought, more with the role for sure. One of them,
Abby Mueller, and her sister Jessie, and her brother is also, and her brother Matthew and Andrew. They're all like all 4 of them are super famous on Broadway. Jessie Mueller was in Waitress.
I haven't seen any of the others, but I'm
Carousel.
familiar with their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, she was incredible. Her voice is off the wall, incredible. But I really like Kirsten in that role. God, I could talk about Six until I die. It's literally like one of the best shows on Broadway. And
it might be the like most. I literally was like, I've never enjoyed myself in a theater more.
I know, it's like a party. It's like you're just going to a dance party. It's so fun. And it's so quick, and so it's like over in no time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. Well, in order to save everyone from listening to us talk about nothing but
For the
six,
rest of our lives.
can you please give us some spiritual guidance?
You know, there's nothing I would like to do better.
I love that.
This is for everyone, but mostly for me. Um, be proud of how you've been handling these past months. The silent battles you fought, the moments you had to humble yourself, wiped your own tears and pat yourself on the back. Celebrate your strength.
Love it. Beautiful.
A rough time, guys. But
Yeah.
we're making it. We're coming out of
We're
it.
gonna make it. We are gonna make it. And yeah, I've got so much to say. And
Great, because I am ready. I am ready to chat.
and I'm just gonna give you guys a hint now. If you don't think you can make it through this whole episode of the podcast, you have to, because the piece of trivia that I'm going yeah, because the piece of trivia that I'm going to share at the end might be the most wild thing that ever comes out of my mouth.
You are required. I mean, I'm sold
Yeah.
now, so like I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
here till the end now. I thought about
Actually,
but you know.
So we're talking about Stargate SG-1, season 3, episode 13. I wrote 14. Is it 14?
It is 14. Because I thought about trying to do it with my hands and realized I don't have enough fingers. So, but
It's
14.
just weird because it's the first episode on the new disc of the DVD set. So in my mind,
but it's the last
like,
one of the season finale or mid-season split,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. You know what I could do? Just look at my notes from last week and double check that I didn't fuck that up.
I mean, I wrote
Nope,
down.
I didn't. I didn't. It's 14.
Yeah.
I'm correct. Okay. It's called Foothold, and it was rated 8.2 stars.
I didn't know what that meant until I watched this episode.
Well, because it was a code name.
Right. I didn't.
Yeah.
Is that not like a military term or anything? Then it was just like specific to this episode.
No, it's a military code for something though. Like, but it is a military code. But
I've never heard of it before.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure it's just a generic military code. I don't know. There was no trivia about it in the.
It's okay. I was thinking foothold, like when you climb on something and you put your foot on the step, and it's like a foothold.
That is usually, yeah, what people say. Like,
yeah, that's not what they meant at all.
No, it's not. Why would I look up Mike Tyson?
Why not? Why would you not look up Mike Tyson? You could go watch his show. I think it's just called.
I could. No.
He bit off someone's ear. I mean, there's a lot of fascinating things happening.
In fact, there is actually no other time where that means what it means.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, I feel better then.
Yeah, no. A military foothold is the same as any other foothold. It's just the code word that they used for that.
Great. 8.2 though, not a bad rating for this one.
No. It came out on November 5th, 1999.
Almost my birthday.
The number 1 movie was The Bone Collector.
Was that a book first? I think it was a book first.
Maybe. It stars Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie, and it's about it's like a crime murder mystery story, but the detective is a paraplegic.
I haven't watched it, but I'm familiar with it.
I know nothing. Yeah. But the same.
I think it got good rating. Like I think this. I know it's like probably came out this week, and that's why it was number 1. But I think it also held recognition throughout.
Okay. The same song and book as last week, though.
Great.
On this day, we have some interesting collection of news. We did unfortunately lose James Goldstone. He was a director who passed away. He is most famous for directing a bunch of Star Trek, so he fits into the sci-fi world. That was the day that Gary Sharon left Van Halen, or announced that he was leaving Van Halen.
Bummer.
And weirdly, this one is, again, I'm telling you, some wild things happened. This is the day that the Supreme Court ruled that Microsoft was in violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act for having a monopoly on home computers.
I studied that case. We had another new case with Google that was very similar in 2016. I don't know. I think it ended finally, but it was out of Ireland. It was a whole thing. But no, I studied that case. That's like a big thing in law school you learn.
Yeah, because like it's like the idea of something being an intellectual violation of a monopoly is like a weird. But then I was like, oh man, Microsoft having a monopoly on home computers. Apple was pretty soon after that. Like,
But Microsoft still exists, which is why Apple has not been
right.
a monopoly yet.
Right, but when did Apple like first launch stuff?
Oh, I mean, they started launching stuff. What was it? 01, 99, something like that. But they didn't really get big until the first iPhone came out in like 2008, 2007, 2006, something like that.
Yeah, but the Apple home computer is like Apple the company obviously was around
Yeah.
for longer, but
But
the
after,
first
I mean, IBM definitely had a hold on everything, which is where Microsoft stemmed from, if I'm correct. And
um yeah.
so I'm sure that case was like in the works for years before it actually
Oh
happened.
yeah. The Macintosh, the iMac, the
Yeah.
computer was released in 1998.
Yeah.
So people were still not buying it, and the case was probably a very long time in the making before.
I'm
I
sure
mean,
that
'cause
case started. When was IBM got big? What, 88, 87, something like that?
something like that.
And then I'm sure it started having this. I'm sure the case for the Sherman Antitrust Act started in like 93, 94.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised at all by that.
Yeah. Wild. Um, this episode was directed by Andy Makita.
New?
That is a new name. This is the first of his 29 episodes, so he will be
Ooh.
around. He is known for Travelers, Motive, and Virgin River.
Is
Uh,
Travelers the show that came out like 5 or 6 years ago, and it has the guy from Will and Grace, or the guy that looks like he's from the guy from Will and Grace?
yes,
I
yeah,
love
that's the
that
one.
show. I never remember it's him or if it's somebody that looks like him. But I
Um,
really like that show. It's a good one.
I could find quite literally nothing about him anywhere on the internet,
Well, you know,
like
had a
at
private
all.
life.
Yeah, so good for him. It was written by Heather E. Ash. She is not new. She
Oh,
did
she
learn it.
returned.
She did Learning Curve this season. The one with
Oh.
the one with the kids who had all the knowledge and then they brainwashed them and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was a nice episode.
Yeah, and the editing was by Alan Lee. For the guest star, I spent a really long time trying to figure out who I was talking about because I started to talk about Colin Cunningham, who played Major Paul Davis.
The guy at the end of the episode that was with Jack.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I've talked about him before.
I wasn't sure. I had that. I was like, oh, I bet this is who she's
Yeah.
going to talk about. And I was like, unless she's talked about him before, I'm not
No, I was like, I'm gonna talk about him. I was like, I don't think I've talked about him. He's low enough on the list. And then I go, as I get to his IMDb, I go, I definitely read all of this before. Okay, great. So then I crossed him off and I decided to talk about Richard Leacock, who was the only other person who was not definitely already on the show before. And he played the soldier who was in the fucking elevator
That is a choice.
because the only other guest stars were either aliens,
That would have been a fascinating discussion.
correct, or Major Davis and Colonel Mayborn. So I
I
had
mean, the
not much.
aliens looked like the aliens from Men in Black. So,
The
like,
aliens looked like Lord Zed from Power Rangers.
also that, look, we could have, look, whole conversation on the aliens would have gone fine.
But so he was known for 911, Good Girls, Good Trouble, and Star Trek Picard. Um,
So, more
he,
recent things than this.
yeah, his brother Viv is also an actor who was also in a million things, but not famous. He,
Interesting.
And he was born in London, but when he was a child, they moved to Vancouver. And so he just kind of got plopped into Vancouver because you know how that
And
works.
now he listens to our podcast.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So we start this episode in the gate room where an activation is coming through. And this is literally my note. I wrote this at work last night, and then I was like, I can't continue watching this episode tonight. And I stopped and I watched the rest of the episode today because this is the note that I wrote. We start in the gate room where an activation is coming through, and Hammond has the Arthur meme fist and looks uncomfy for some reason.
The what?
You know the meme of Arthur with the clenched fist that is
Arthur meme. I thought you said mean.
Oh no, meme. The Arthur meme fist. And then I looked at that and I go, I cannot continue this tonight. We are not in the headspace for
Okay,
this
the first
episode.
5 minutes of the episode, I was like, why can't Jack hear anything? What is happening? Is this our issue? No, it is not the issue of the episode.
So Jack is deaf and General Hammond is a cartoon aardvark.
Yeah. Yeah. So we started our notes really strong.
SG-1 is back, but they're back late. Fun fact, also not the issue of the episode.
Also not the issue. Yeah.
Daniel thought they had found Keb, but it was just a ton of rain.
Can you spell that town for us that we're looking for?
Keb? Kheb. Kheb.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I realized we had a real name for it.
Yes.
I thought they just kept talking about where the boy was. I didn't realize.
Well, because we don't know necessarily if the planet has a name, but Keb is a place in Egyptian mythology.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes. So remember, it's the place where somebody hid from Seth something. She described it.
Yeah.
It's a place in real mythology, and it's called Keb.
Right. I think I just missed that. Like they said the name of it in the last or episode before or whatever. I don't remember if that was last episode or
not. But yeah, so that it was just rain. Hammond sends them directly to the infirmary. Jack wants to get out of his clothes, and Hammond's like, "No, you have to go to the infirmary." No. Which I wasn't 100% sure in this moment if that was weird or not. Like, it was like, I don't think anything they're saying is technically incorrect, but everything just feels off.
Because you think about, like, if you're coming back from a planet, you've been rained on, and you don't know if this planet is Earth-like or if it's alien, like, you don't want to take off the clothes and then spread something around. So,
correct. No, exactly. I was like, I don't think his orders are incorrect, but everything just feels off. They did a really good job with the music in this episode.
Mm-hmm. They did. It's very different from a lot of the others.
Yeah. They get an escort to the infirmary, which is also weird, and Jack is put off by it. But it's because there was a chemical spill on level 23, and they're just trying to keep everyone safe.
Right.
They are very clear to tell you what kind of chemical it is. I couldn't remember when they said it. I was going to write it down when I took notes on trivia, and then there was no trivia about it at all.
I didn't make note of it. I don't keep up with the scientific terms of Stargate. So
I got a 76 on my chemistry regents, which is like the New York State exam, and that was the highest grade in my class. So needless to say, chemistry is not my strong suit.
Chemistry was never my strong suit, but I was really good at science. I got 4th place in the state fair, the state science fair.
I won the science fair at my school in 4th grade, but my school had 8 kids in 3rd and 4th grade combined. So
I also won in my school every year, but I only won state one year. And to be fair, I did it on a psychological study, not even on like a chemical study.
I made sugar.
Well, that is very impressive.
But like I used like maple syrup and like a bunch of different solutions to create sugar crystals, and talked about the different temperatures of sugar crystallization.
I did a study of reading the words in different color, like you read blue, but it's the color yellow when you look at it.
Yeah.
I did that study, and I had so many people reading those. I got really good at reading the words. So I am excellent at it now.
So we get to the infirmary and everybody is getting shots in the infirmary, but like something feels just super off about it. Like this whole scene just like gave me the ick.
It did, and like I couldn't pin down why because everyone was like, "Yeah, this is fine," except Tilk. Tilk wasn't really like ever like
Tilk did not speak.
100% on board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tilk did not speak at all. And also like everyone was just like kind of shouting and Jack was deaf and everything just felt weird
I was
and
like, "Why can't Jack hear anything?" It was really
um
bothering me in the scene.
yeah. And then once all of the shots are administered, Janet just says it's time to begin, and then the
Yeah,
credits roll, and it was like
mm, that's not quite right.
something is wrong. I still haven't figured out what, but something is wrong.
Something is off. Yeah.
Yeah. After the credits, Teal'c begins to wake up and he sees Janet talking to George. I called him George in this episode because he was not really General Hammond. So
And he was your family member. One of your family members would be
yeah.
an evil scientist, probably.
Mm, yeah, my brother probably would.
See, there you
Um,
go. One of the
about that.
Georges.
Yeah, about the fact that she cannot take care of Teal'c or Sam because of the parasites. Um, we still don't really know what the shit is happening. But George says to lock them in a holding cell until after the invasion is complete so they can study them and find out if Earth is a viable home planet.
Yeah, that's not sketchy at all.
No, there is nothing concerning about that statement whatsoever. So then a soldier is escorting Teal'c and he gets in the elevator and the guy says that they're going to level 23 and he's like, no, actually this one's going to level 16. And then they get out of the elevator and Teal'c just like attacks him and steals his ID card. I was like,
Also, that is a lot of levels for something that's underground. I didn't realize how far underground they were.
oh, it is. It is far underground. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's why in that black hole episode in season 1 or 2 or whatever, it was like there was
Season 2.
when the time was different, they weren't going to be able to get out of the base
Yeah.
before yeah. So Teal'c just like continues attacking his way through the base. He's like just knocking people out left, right, and center. And Teal'c finds Sam and fills her in on what is happening and the fact that they are the only two who are not completely messed up. And then Teal'c and Sam break into the surveillance room to try and find out what's happening to Daniel and Jack. Like they're not really worried about the entire base at first.
Right.
Luckily they get there.
Yeah. Well, at first you don't see anybody else being like shot up with something. You just see the 4. So like
right. Yeah, but like
immediate concern.
my immediate concern would be the fact that General Hammond authorized someone to shoot me up with something.
Fair.
But they go to check what's going on and all cameras on level 23 are turned off, which is also comforting.
Shady.
So they look at the gate room cameras and see the arrival of 2 aliens just conversing with Hammond. Like there's nothing wrong with that picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, okay, well, if Hammond is compromised, we can trust quite literally no one.
Right.
And they're trying to break out of the base. And Sam is like, this base is designed so that no one can get in, not so that no one can get out. I can do this. I'm like, okay. But then the alarm signals that they are out and they get found out and they decide to split up. Sam continues to escape while Teal'c just like fights literally everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.
And then we have a really weird moment that didn't make sense in the moment, except for that I wrote down that it had to be important and then it was important later. But in that moment, it was very confusing. Because Teal'c knocked the soldier out and all of the blood was regular human blood.
Yeah.
And there was like a weird, unnecessarily long close-up of Teal'c like feeling the blood in his hand. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It turned out to be important later, but then also that makes me concerned that Teal'c just like killed someone who was not supposed to be killed.
Right. Yeah. Like one of the actual soldiers of SG-1 is now just dead.
Yeah.
Which,
So
like,
that's
cool. Defense mechanism. You do what you gotta do.
occupational hazard.
Yes. Don't listen to aliens. Don't let aliens tell you what to do, and you won't die.
Also,
Probably.
if you decide to become an unranked officer on the 15th backup string of a secret mission, probably like with aliens, don't expect to live.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you're not SG-1 through 10, they don't care about you.
Yeah.
And
I
if
mean,
you're
what
not
happened to SG-11?
right,
Like,
SG-11 was out. Mm.
hmm
And from now on, after this episode, only SGs 1 through 5 get anything because SG6 is going to fuck this whole thing up.
So they only care about you for 1 through 10 for 2 years. And after that, they start cutting it back.
Yeah. The budget, we don't have the budget for this. We only have the budget to care about 5 teams.
Yes.
Sam does make it out of the base and she's still weak. Because of whatever fucking drugs they gave her. And then
Well, it's just a
Teal,
sedative.
yeah.
And those just like linger in your body. If you've ever
Yeah.
had like anesthesia, that's what I picture it as, is like an anesthesia.
Yeah, it's probably that. You just also never know what kind of sedative they're giving people.
True.
Teal continues fighting the alien. Oh, but the alien traps him and then releases a gas into the base. Gross. That's the first time we really truly see the alien though, and it was fucking weird looking.
Yeah. But we saw him whenever they were talking to Hammond and
Yeah, but we saw them through the cameras in the surveillance room, so it was kind of like you saw it.
we saw it through the door when he went to get whenever he went to get
Oh, right, that one that popped up
Sam.
in the yeah,
Mhm.
the one that popped up. Um,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I have to move to my charger again because my extended charger didn't come in.
Ugh, the worst. So then we see that Sam has made it to the airport and gotten on a payphone and called none other than Colonel Mayborn.
The bane of my existence. Bless. Oh,
But Sam tells him that she believes that there has been an infiltration, and like she calls it the foothold situation.
and that's what I was like, oh, I get it.
Yes. So it's the code name for something happening that they could not contend with, and they called it the foothold. And which makes sense because it's an alien's foothold into the world.
Right.
If the aliens take over, that's but she was shouting at him and like saying things on the phone. And he was like, "You are going beyond your chain of command. Like this is not correct." And she goes, "I don't have a chain of command. Everyone is compromised."
Right.
But he agrees to meet her. Then we flash back to SGC where Teal'c is restrained in the infirmary and Janet tells him that he became delusional after exposure to the chemical spill and started attacking people and trying to escape from the base. And there was like a split second where you actually thought like Teal'c had lost his mind.
No, I never believed it.
I didn't because we had seen the aliens, but also in other episodes when like Daniel was fucking going crazy and it was only in Daniel's mind, we still saw the aliens.
Okay. But to be fair, when we're talking about Daniel's mind versus Teal'c's mind,
I mean, valid.
Very different standards in my head.
Valid, but they
I'm going
did
to
it
always assume Daniel Jackson is losing his mind, whether he is or not.
fair. But to be fair, I want to give props to Terrell Rothery because this was really, really well done in this moment of like you are cynical as shit, and so you probably didn't believe that there was a chance that this wasn't what was happening, but like the portrayal was such that
it was really well done. I will say, like in the later scene with Mayborn and everyone, I did for a second. I was like, I don't believe this still. but I could see how people would. Like,
Yeah.
it would be like, that's the closest I got. And I was like, I could definitely see that. Like, if somebody told me I was wrong, I'd be like, you're right. I'm wrong.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, like you were just being cynical, but this scene and then the next scene, there was like a, oh, okay,
yeah.
what? Um, so, um, Hammond and Janet are like, yeah, like this, your symbiote protects you from a lot of things, but apparently it doesn't protect you from this one chemical and the hallucinations. And they're like, we need to find Sam though, because she is also having these delusions. So we're like, where is she? And he was like, I don't know. Which, to be fair, he
He
did not
didn't
know.
know. Right.
I was like, in this moment, he is not lying. And Janet's like, yes, but we need to find her because this chemical, it could kill her. We need to know where she is. And he's like, great. I don't know.
I was like, okay, way to be dramatic, first of all.
Right.
But fine.
But so then we go to DC where Mayborn is waiting for Sam at the cafe that he told her to, but meet her where they decided to meet. But then he tells her that Hammond called him and told him all about the chemical spill and all of the delusions and the paranoia that she is experiencing, and he does not believe that there's actually a foothold. And she's like, come on. Like, why would you go to Hammond? He's like, I didn't go to Hammond. Hammond called me.
My
And then,
favorite quote.
hold on, we're not quite
Oh,
there
we're not
yet.
there yet. Okay.
So then Jack and Daniel show up and they're like, hey, Sam. And she sees them and she turns around and she says to Mayborn the most beautiful thing that has ever been said in the history of the show.
She
Do you,
says, I do, I'd love to. She says, Mayborn, you're an idiot every day of the week. She was like,
no,
why
she
do you have,
said,
I
why
can't
couldn't
say
you
the
take
story.
a day off?
Yeah.
She said, you are an idiot every day of the week. Why couldn't you take one day off?
I think that is my favorite quote of the entire series so far.
I may or may not have to say that to an eighth grader tomorrow.
I will now be using that against everyone.
Oh yeah, no, that is
Everyone.
amazing. There was another really good quote in this episode later that I don't remember what it was. I don't know if I saved it, like wrote it down, but man,
I didn't write any other quotes down. That was the only
it
one.
was fucking beautiful. Um, so then Jack and Daniel tell her everything that we just heard Janet tell Teal'c, and Sam confirms that the side effects of that particular chemical do line up with everything that they're saying, and she's starting to doubt herself. And Mayborn is like, I only told Jack and Daniel where we were if they agreed to me personally inspecting the base. So I will be coming with you. Like, I will see what is going on. Like, but you being this publicly upset is a security risk. Like, we're gonna have to have a problem. And you can already tell sort of that something might not quite be right because Jack is being really nice
Yeah.
to
Yeah. It
Mayborn,
was
particularly.
I know that's when she was like, "Can you not tell something's wrong? Jack is
He
agreeing with you."
right. So Sam does agree to go back because it seems to her that the people she trusts the most are saying this because Mayborn is like, you literally called me the one person on planet Earth that you don't trust. And she was like, I had no other options.
Right.
Believe me, last choice.
Yes, you are the last choice always.
Um, so then we go back to the SGC and Teal'c asks them to release him, but they're like, oh, like we can't do that. We're not sure if you are done trying to kill people, blah 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 blah. And then the phone rings and General Hammond answers it, and we find out that Sam is on her way back to SGC. And so he tells Janet, and she immediately says that they can begin experimenting immediately.
She just can't let up.
No, well, apparently. Hmm. Um, On the plane, Jack and Mayborn are describing the base in a very un-Jack-like way, and like they're having a conversation about what could potentially be happening and what's going on the base and the chemical spills, and it just feels all wrong. And then Sam sees a weird reality glitch and sees Jack as an alien. So she just grabs Mayborn's gun and like points it at him.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, Sam, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is uncomfortable. And Sam just like shoots Jack
She's just like,
straight up.
no, I'm 100% right.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if she wasn't though? Oh. I never questioned her for a second, but had
But
I also been wrong? Oh,
um and that is how we lose Jack on the show.
it was
Just
spit
dead.
liquid on my brand new computer.
Um so then she just shoots him and he like becomes an alien. Like
Like the facade.
his perception filter disappears and he becomes an alien and Mayborn and Daniel look very, very scared and upset. And then Major Davis comes out from the cockpit and she tries to shoot Sam, but she just shoots him too.
She's not playing around.
No. And so Mayborn is like, I need you to go check the pilot and see if he is also an alien. And she's like, I don't trust you. And so he cuts his hand and shows that his blood is like normal red blood when the other two are like bleeding straight up Ivan Ooze goo from fucking the original Power Rangers movie. And so he said he'll watch Daniel and she will go check on the pilot. And then from somewhere, hanging from a weird purple jellyfish looking fucking net, Jack just wakes up.
I was like, what is happening? Where are we at?
And then he like tries to wake Hammond up because Hammond is hanging from the jellyfish right next to him. But then we go back to the plane, and Sam and Mayborn defined the actual device that made the perception field and take it off of Daniel to reveal the other alien as well. But that one they don't kill. They just are trying to figure it out.
Just stun him a bit.
So Sam attaches the device to herself and becomes Daniel, but only visually. Apparently there's two devices and she was like, this one is only a perception filter. Like the brain one is the mind is connected differently.
Yeah, because she still very much sounds like Sam. Everything she says.
Correct. But she knows that something happened that made it glitch, which is why she saw Jack without the perception filter. So her and Mayborn decide that they need to come up with a plan to create the same audio wavelength to try to mess with, or electromagnetic wavelength to try to mess with the filters. Back on base, Major Davis also wakes up because his alien is now dead too, and he and Jack like pretend to be asleep to watch Janet turn this other alien into a soldier and like hook him up to the jellyfish thing, and it's all fucking weird looking. And then Janet almost sees Jack move. Like she like sees something and she's so close to catching him. And then we get the most awful scene in the whole episode of Janet just like ruthlessly experimenting on Junior, who, of course, because it's an actual like symbiote, like baby larvae symbiote that lives in Teal'c, it's the nasty fucking looking one and not like the cool CGI one. And also it's screeching in pain. Which I know how you feel about seeing
I know.
Goa'uld larvae, but also poor Junior.
And also like it's keeping Teal'c alive most of the time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't need it to die, I just need to not see it. Like those are different things.
Yeah. So then Hammond tells her that she should put it back in him and stop and lock him back up until they've secured Sam so that Sam is more likely to actually like come in with them. So then Jack and Major Davis free themselves and they try to free Janet, but Jack takes the headband off of her and it disconnects the link between the minds. And so alien Janet knows there's a problem.
Yeah.
And she goes in there. Oh, this was the other moment that I thought it was really funny. Jack punches her in the face and then knocks her out, and he just like looks down at Janet's body and he just goes, "This feels wrong."
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, if it was actually Janet, then it would be wrong.
Correct. Um, and this then he feels really weird about it, and then he has to take the device off of her chest to get her back to being the alien.
They were
And
so awkward about that. Like the most awkward I've ever seen them.
he was like, "She's actually an alien. She's actually an alien. She's actually an alien." Well, because if he wasn't actually an alien, he would feel very uncomfortable about opening her shirt.
Well, sure, sure.
Um, Sam puts the device on to look like Daniel and sneaks back into the base. And then while Jack and Major Davis are doing their weird thing to reveal Alien Janet, Sam, as Daniel, breaks into the room and they have like a weird showdown. And where they're trying to like determine if they are both an alien or not, like who is who. And they're like, she's like, and they're like, she was like, oh, and they're like, how? Oh, so she takes the device off, and he's like, Sam, and she's like, yeah, and he goes, well, then it's good to see you too. Like this was, I don't know. And Sam tells them, she's like, why are you guys awake? And he's like, I don't know, we just woke up. She goes, oh, must be because I killed you. He's like, I'm sorry, what?
Just super cash, super cash.
So she tells them all about how she actually like woke them up. And she's like, I have to go to my office to get the machine that will make the noise thing. And Jack and Major Davis go to the armory to get weapons. And so Jack's first stop with his weapons is to go free Teal'c. And he like pretends to be an alien version of himself. And he tells Teal'c that he has to go. And he was like, I will not be participating in any more experiments. He's like, oh, yes, you will. And Teal'c obviously knows that that's how Jack talks, and they have like a
Right.
moment.
Because he does this
And
whole eye thing. He's like, "Mm."
and then the other guys are like, we can't let you do that. And he's like, oh yes, you can. And then he shoots them all. And Teal'c just goes, Colonel Jack O'Neill, and he goes, gave it away.
Literally every part of your being.
Correct. So then Sam finds the right frequency and starts playing it, and it disrupts Alien Hammond's disguise. So she knows it works, and she puts it on the PA system so that all of the aliens in the whole base are like seen as aliens and not as the
Yep.
people. So then the aliens attempt to leave through the gate, and Sam's like, no, we have to stop them. So then there's just like a hodgepodge of things happening where all of that is going on, and then Mayborn's troops arrive, and Jack and Sam finally like get the gate to close after a couple of the aliens have already gone through it. And then the aliens are just like, we would rather die than be captured. And they just self-destruct in the most aggressively like literally like it looked like a smoke bomb had gone off.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
And
a lot. Very dramatic.
so then they have a briefing at the end, and they have changed all of the codes for the gate and locked that particular planet that the aliens went to out of their system. They are also going to add a blast from the harmonic generator to their return protocol so that if anything comes through the gate, it will immediately like be disrupted just in case. And Major Davis says that the reason he's even there is because Hammond had called him, so he's guessing that the aliens knew to like go to the Pentagon after SGC, which was terrifying.
Right, yeah.
And then Mayborn comes in and tells them that everything is all set and whatever, and they're having a moment, and he gives all the credit to saving the base to Sam for knowing to contact him and like have the thing. And he's like, I'm sure I will see you all again. And Jack says it would actually be nice to see him. And they have like a moment where they realize that Colonel Mayburn could potentially actually be on the same side as them.
Yeah, but he still sucks. Like,
Well, he does still suck, but like,
I mean, he's not a bad person. He just sucks as a person.
yeah. So that is the end of the episode. And while it is not as connected as the last couple episodes are to the things, I think it was kind of a banger of an episode to go out on a break on.
I think it was, but I think it was connected well enough because the whole reason they went to this planet was to look for the boy. And then it just so happened they had to now fight off this other.
Right. And yeah, so they did keep it connected a little bit. We brought Mayborn and Davis back, so we haven't like forgotten about their existence. But it also like it was a really high action, like
Yeah.
fast moving episode, and then it ended on a moment of like what could be a bridge for a new story arc of something where like they're actually cooperating with other people. So it was not at all a bad choice.
No, I thought it was nice too. Yeah.
Um, it might not have been as good as the one before it in terms of where they could have ended it, but it wasn't a bad choice to end it there.
Yeah.
Um, Before I get into the trivia, because the trivia I do want to save for the end, because like I said, it's the most wild thing I've ever had to write down. Um, who would you like to punch?
Mayborn all day, every day. Like, I get that we're friends with him now, but like, he was such a moron at the beginning. He did compromise Sam after she was like coming to him because she was following the protocol of like everyone else was compromised, and he just like
That's valid. That is
didn't even
valid.
say. And in Sam's words, you're what did she say?
An idiot every day of the
You're an
week.
idiot every day of the week. So I felt that same sentiment.
That's valid. I think the person I would like to punch in the face is whatever member of SG-6 let these aliens take over their body in the first place.
Yes. Good choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good choice.
Who is your MVP?
Sam. She kept it together. She made sure that everyone didn't die.
Yeah.
And held her ground, but still like was respectful through all of it. So
I knew you were going to pick Sam because, to be fair, who would you pick other than Sam after that episode? And so I picked Colonel Mayborn.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
because you're right. Your analysis of why he deserves to be punched is not incorrect, but
you're not incorrect for picking him as
he
MVP.
did also save the entire planet.
Right. You're also not wrong.
Yeah. Now, this trivia, there's only one piece of trivia.
Only one? And
It's only one.
major?
Because it's not that it's major in the sense of like crazy plot connections or anything like that. It's just that when I read it, I literally almost died having to write it down as a sentence because of the way that it is phrased.
Okay.
So this episode, as you know, came out on November 5th, 1999, and it was the end of the arc of the mid-season thing.
Yeah.
So, which means that the next episode will be in January.
Right.
So this note says, this is the last episode of Stargate to air in the 1900s.
No. No, I can't. I cannot.
Throw that to me. It is wild.
That is so rude.
It's the last episode of the 20th century. Like, oh, thank you so much.
Christ. Okay, Stargate, IMDb. What is wrong with you people?
That is offensive.
That is offensive.
Like I said, it's not even a major trivia. It's just the most wild sentence I've ever been asked to write down.
Ugh. Ugh. You're not wrong. Some
Um,
Victorian times. That's
um,
1900s.
yeah.
I
So
wonder
if
what the
he,
last episode of TV was in the 1900s.
it
Like,
was
what was
whatever, it was
the
whatever, it
last
was
thing we streamed?
Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve.
Well, no, like a real TV, not like New
Oh,
Year's Eve.
the last new
Yeah.
scripted piece of
Mhm.
television to air in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Interesting. If you, dear listeners, do know what the last scripted piece of television to air in the 1900s, or have anything else that you would like to talk about that hasn't happened since last century, just to make us feel fucking old as shit,
I'm gonna guess it
um,
was an X-Files episode. That's my guess.
I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up. I probably won't, but I will just wait for some viewer to do it for me and tell me so that I feel like someone actually listens to this podcast. Um, so if you also have any fun facts about things that have not happened since the 1900s, because you, like me, cannot believe that that was 23 years ago,
Mm-mm.
please feel free to reach out. Email us at deafandaliens@gmail.com. Follow us on all of the social media at Deaf and Aliens. You can follow me personally everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And we will see you all on Thursday for a lovely episode of Thriller Thursday. Do you have any fun tidbit
Spooky.
teaser? Do you have any fun little teaser
I do
things to
have a
say?
teaser. This episode coming up is a big one. And it's part 1 of 2. So you
Yeah.
gotta stay tuned for a couple weeks to figure out the
Yeah.
resolution.
Oh yeah. It's interesting for sure. This is the first one my dad watched with me, so
Oh, I can't wait to hear about this. So
yeah. Yeah. So we will see you all on Thursday.
bye.
Bye.